Welcome to the Words from Our Community video series as part of the Asian Week Database Project. I'm your host, Wynn Stanton. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Gerrye Wong. Welcome. Could you elaborate on your title?
Good morning. I am Gerrye Wong, and I'm happy to be with your media. And I guess my title could be I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I have been a writer, I have been a journalist, I have been a school teacher. I carry a lot of hats, but I think right now my most important hat is I'm a community volunteer, which I feel is very important to be a part of the community and doing things that we need to have done in the Asian American community.
Tell us about your relationship with Asian Week.
I have to say that I was teaching school, but I had always loved to be a writer. I was the editor of this high school newspaper. I was very fortunate that I met one of the leaders of Chinatown, Mr. H.K. Wong, one day, very happenstance. And he said, you know, you live in Silicon Valley, and that is really a growing community for the Chinese Americans. And he said, I think we should know more about what's happening with the Chinese American community down there. And there's a new newspaper called Asian Week. I'd like to introduce you to the publisher, Mr. John Fang, and see if you would be interested in writing a column for Asian Week. HK and I were very well acquainted with writing about the community. I did get to meet Mr. Fang. We had a good relationship. He said, would you like to write for me? And I said, well, I do like to write. The Chinese Americans up to then had been a very small community. So I could see a lot of progress coming about. So I think Asian Week opened my eyes to a lot of what was happening politically, academically, and socially in the community. So I have to thank Asian Week for that.
Tell us about your impression of Asian Week.
Well, the one thing I liked about Asian Week was that it was the first English language newspaper pertaining to Asian American activities that was on the national scale. Prior to that, I had been very involved in one when I was at UC Berkeley. It was very local, however, to San Francisco and the Bay Area community. I could see where Asian Week brought in all Asian Pacific Americans, which at that time in the 80s and 90s was really growing. I was very disappointed when we had to close Asian Week as a print newspaper because I think a lot of people missed it. A lot of people told me that they really enjoyed reading it. I had wonderful experiences meeting so many people. One time I was going to do a project for Mr. Fang that I was interviewing leaders of the communities in all aspects of professions, and we were going to make it into a book. Unfortunately, during his passing, that idea went to the side, and we never got to do that. But I mean, we had wonderful stories of entrepreneurs, of immigrants that had started with nothing and what they did in their lives. So that's too bad that history was lost.
Thank you for sharing what you did. You've said some lovely things, and I appreciate your time. All right, folks, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us in the Words from Our Community video series as part of the Asian Week Database Project. Have a
Thank you.
great day.